June 23rd. That's right. It is June 23rd. And this is the Keepers of the Peace podcast. I want to welcome everybody today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a special day for me because we have a wonderful group of guests that I'm excited to have on. These guys come from my comfort zone of hanging out with dudes. And so I know you guys know that this is a Special Ops Talks episode. And we're really excited about this one. It's episode three. And there's another reason, though, besides these guys and the great conversation that I know we're getting ready to have. Another reason why I'm really excited. And that's because we're going to be announcing our conference ticket sales going on today. But before we get to that, I want to let you know who I am. My name is Trini Trinidad, and I want to thank you guys again personally for tuning in. I have been was a police officer for 23 years. I've recently retired. I was a veteran in the Air Force. I got out and again became a police officer. I have had cancer twice. I'm a 2-time cancer survivor, which is one of the reasons why I'm so extremely happy for the day. I am a franchise business owner along with my wife, Audrey. We own a company called Biotex. It is a crime and trauma scene cleaning company. We are stationed here out of San Antonio, Texas, but we have franchised into Houston and Dallas. Very successful, and I'm excited about announcing our franchises that are going to be offered all over the great United States of America. I am also a nonprofit founder. We have an organization called Shields for Kids. It's a bunch of officers who get together in their off-duty time and would go out and provide for the community, in particular the kids in the community that are in need. One of the things that we do is we emphasize that we are there in our off-duty time. So we go out, we make every effort to go out and to show these children and these parents just how much we care about them by being there on our own time and on our own dime. And so I'm very proud of our organization. So I want to make sure that you know that today, on today's episode, we'd like to know where you are tuning in from. We have some really neat downloads that are coming from, of course, USA, but Canada, Colombia, Australia, Romania, Spain. We've got people downloading this Keepers of the Peace podcast from all over. And we have had notification that there are going to be some people coming in from out of the country to our conference. So one of the things I'll tell you is if you want to get more information about the conference we're about to announce, or in practice, I kept pointing over here, but in game time, I'm pointing right here. If you want to find out more about my personal brand, Trini Trinidad, we have our website that's going to be coming up soon. It's going to be going live here soon. We'll make that announcement. But I'll tell you, one of the things I'm trying to do with this, with my personal brand, is I want to be able to provide value by turning my struggles into a gift for others through business, through cancer, and through my service. All of these things that I've experienced, and I want to be able to turn the struggles with some of those things into a gift for others. That's the goal of my personal brand. So on to the wonderful announcement that we have. So one of the things that we're going to be doing with this Keepers of the Peace podcast is we have a Keepers of the Peace conference. And this conference is taking place it's called the International Keepers of the Peace First Responders Conference. It's taking place on April the 12th through the 14th here in San Antonio. And, we're going to get into the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why here in just a second. But the emphasis with this conference is we're providing a badass conference with badass breakout sessions. And so we're really excited about this conference that's coming out. And we have early bird tickets that are getting ready to go on sale as soon as this episode is done. So we're really excited about this conference. If you want to know, what this conference is, who it's for. This conference is geared towards the same people that are the freedom-loving, knuckle-dragging, Second Amendment-supporting, donut-eating, pole-sliding badasses who understand duty, honor, and service. So these are all policemen, fire, military, and EMTs. What this conference is going to do is it's going to provide some really cool breakout sessions for first responders, and I want to emphasize both active duty and retired. So through various breakout sessions, such as if you ever wanted to start a business, if you have a business that you are that you're interested in starting, maybe as a first responder. We've got guys who are first responders who have started business, and they're going to be talking about those businesses at the conference and how you can get started on that. We're talking about financial management. You know, one of the big stressors in a life of a first responder, just in general, is financial management, you know. So we're going to talk about ways of investing. We're going to be talking about taxes, things of that sort. If you ever want to start a podcast or a YouTube channel, you know, we're going to go there. We're also going to have health and fitness type of breakout sessions. And some of these breakout sessions are taking place inside the hotel. Some of them are taking place outside the hotel. And we're going to get into some of those that are going to be taking place outside of the hotel here shortly. But these are a number of special sessions that are focused on providing first responders with a way of thinking outside of their own way of thinking to be able to handle the challenges that come with being a first responder. That's going to be that main goal of what this conference is for. So you asked for when. We've got the dates up there, April the 12th through the 14th. And one of the things that this conference does is it butts up right against one of the biggest celebrations here in San Antonio, and that's Fiesta. So our conference ends on a Wednesday, and Fiesta starts up on Thursday. And there's a little snapshot there by Betsy Newman of part of Fiesta that takes place. So it's our biggest celebration that we have here in San Antonio, and it bumps up right at the end of the conference. So this is going to be a really neat opportunity for you to make a great destination out of this vacation. You know, come to the conference, then vacation afterwards. All right, so we'll go back off the screen, and we're going to go to all conference tickets include Monday and Tuesday, the first 2 days of this conference. And then any breakout sessions held on Wednesday are an additional purchase for your tickets. So as we go through ticket prices here shortly, you're going to be able to find out, you know, how you can get your tickets for those additional breakout sessions. So the way this works briefly is going to be the first day is going to be our main speakers, our keynote speakers. They're going to be taking place on the first day of the conference. You're able to visit vendors. Then you're going to turn around on the second day, and you're going to have in-hotel breakout sessions, and that's going to be about the finances. Man, we're even going to have things like CrossFit. If you're interested in CrossFit, you know, you can have a beginner CrossFit breakout session, an intermediate, and then a competitive level CrossFit. So, I mean, we're going to have a really unique array of different breakout sessions within the hotel. And then on that last day of the conference, we're going to have breakout sessions outside of the hotel. And these breakout sessions are going to include a couple of our guests today, a workout and shoot with the San Antonio SWAT competition team. So, you know, we got jiu-jitsu breakout sessions that are going to be taking place. We have a 5K run. We're going to have a multitude of breakout sessions outside of the hotel for you to participate in. And then again, of course, we're going to have our Fiesta taking place after that. We've got, let's see here, we got Dwayne. Dwayne, brother, I appreciate you tuning in, man. Love you too. Dr. Sargent from Salt Lake City. Keep up all the good work. Proud to know you, man. Dr. Sargent is I know he doesn't like to hear this kind of stuff, but man, this guy has been a godsend to our family with my son, Trip. This guy's a specialty doctor, surgeon that does just these wonderful things for children. And more importantly, he's a wonderful person. Also served in our military. Thank you so much, Dr. Sargent, for that. Albert Sanchez, Jordan Freedy, I appreciate you tuning in. Of course, my beautiful wife, Audrey Trinidad. We got Mandir tuning in. He says, I want to see my boo, J-Ray, who's going to be coming up here soon. Brandon West, thank you so much again. He goes, ooh, Trini says, Trini got the hair going tonight. Great show, great job, Pa. Hey, man, I didn't have much of a choice, dude. The hat wasn't cooperating. Thomas, thanks a lot for coming back. So I'll tell you what we're going to do is we're going to go through the ticket prices. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly go over these ticket prices. You can visit our website at keepersofthepeace.com. If we can throw those ticket prices up there real quickly, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a great value. I've been to tons of conferences, and this conference is a great value for what it is that you're going to be getting. One of the things I want you to pay attention to is that cadet level price. We like to have fun with this stuff, man. You got the cadets, the lieutenants, the captains. On that cadet level, you're going to see that we're going to bring you back for entertainment at the end of the breakouts On one day, we're going to have an exhibition bodybuilding show where all agencies are going to be represented. And on another day, we're going to have an access to a comedy show. Now, you guys, if you've tuned in last week, you'll know that we had Travis Howes on our show. And Travis Howes is a former military, former police officer, former firefighter. And he has a really amazing story and an attitude of being able to make it through some difficult mental challenges. And he's going to bring a lot to our conference. He's going to be one of our keynote speakers. He has a book called Create Your Own Light, Finding Post-Traumatic Purpose. And I think that's a wonderful saying, post-traumatic purpose. He's also a professional comedian. And not just, professional because of the title. The guy's performed on some big stages. So we're really excited to bring him out. He's going to be able to bring back everybody at the end of at one of our breakouts, and it's going to be a fun time. So those are our prices. You can check it out on our website again, keepersofthepeace.com. One of the things I'm going to show you right now is our sponsorship levels. And on that sponsorship levels, we throw those up. We've got the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, and the Big Daddy 4-star sponsorship. One of the things I want to highlight with this one is that 1-star sponsorship. And the reason that that's important is because this is a pay it forward opportunity. There are a lot of first responders out there that are in a difficult financial position, as I have been. And going to a conference like this would have never been on my radar. But because of people who believe in what it is that we do and who we are, I believe that regardless of whether you're a business, a person who just has the ability to provide for people and wants to provide for a first responder to attend the conference, this is a great opportunity. But I would also say, hey, if you want to get together as a group and sponsor a ticket, man, that would be awesome also. And we're definitely going to be recognizing all of our 1-star sponsorships who are paying it forward. You can check out all the rest of the sponsorships that are there. I guarantee you're going to get great value to promote your product or services to these wonderful first responders that we have. And on that note, check this out with my radio voice. During the last podcast, I had a wonderful surprise. There is a company called Biotech, as I explained before, and I have a great supporter in that company, being my wife. She surprised me during the last podcast with being our first 4-star general sponsor. This is what happened. Well, we can't show you what happened. You'll have to tune into the last podcast, but check this out. This is what she presented me with, and I did not know about this. She is our first 4-star sponsorship, and it just made me so happy because it is a big part of what I'm doing here. Is really difficult for somebody like me who just retired here recently, and to put something on like this is extremely challenging. It's exhausting for Deanna and Carly who work in our office. It's just me, Deanna, and Carly that are putting this thing on, and so it's a big challenge, and we really appreciate that, Audrey. Thank you so much. I do love you, and I'm extremely proud to have that sponsorship as our first sponsor. So that all being said, check out our website again, keepersofthepeace.com. Travis Howes, he's signing books for us now, man. Thank you so much, Travis. We were able to buy some books. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy another 10 books. That's what I'm going to do, Travis. I'm going to buy another 10 books. So if anybody here wants one of those books, you're tuning in early, you get one of those books, and we are going to have Travis sign it for you. Please let me know if you want one of these, and I guarantee you're going to love it. So Travis, want to help you out, continue helping you, brother. All right, so we're going to get this show on the road. It's what y'all came here for. We are going to highlight these individuals that are members in the special ops career field. And, when you talk about these dudes, of course, everybody has the views of what takes place in movies, things of that sort. And hey, man, there's some of it that's true. But at the same time, it's very important to recognize these guys have huge hearts, and they have wonderful personalities, and you're going to get to find that out here today. So what we're going to do is we are going to have an intro to our first guest. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and and show this quick clip.
Oh, that's it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Get some. That chicken from Popeyes.
I get 65 miles to the gallon on this log.
That man right there is this man right here, Gary Ellis. Gary, thank you so much for being here, brother.
Man, that was entertaining like a champ, brother. I am sure glad to be here with you, man. I appreciate it very much being on the show with you.
Hey, man, I'll tell you what a wonderful intro. I wanted to set the stage of being all serious and stuff, and then just to set off what this show's about right there, man, as I'm telling you, it was impressive. I can't tell you how many times I watched that video and laughed, man. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you, man. That was that was. I didn't realize you were going to pull all together. That was hysterical, by the way.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what. So Gary Ellis, just like the banner there says, you know, a 21-year military service member. Thank you so much for your service, brother. 16 deployments. You know, he's 14 years in the Navy. 10 of those years he served in the SEAL teams. 7 years in the Army. He was fully mission qualified MH-60 Black Hawk pilot. I'll tell you, I always wanted to be a Black Hawk pilot, man. That was one of those things that I had on my radar, and chose a different path. But man, that's really neat, man. One of my dreams there. He was at Fort Campbell, I think it's Kentucky, right? When you were... Yeah, man. So Gary's here. He's joining us. He is also a civilian firearms instructor at RDI, which we're going to get into here in just a little bit. That is Reality Defense Incorporated. So I'm really excited for you to be here, Gary. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
It's a real pleasure. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. All right. So we're gonna bring Gary back here shortly. The next guest that I want to introduce. This guy, I've had the pleasure, actually my next two guests, I've had the pleasure of joining both of these guys as on the police department, and I'm really excited to share the screen with these guys tonight. We have, this dude's been 19 years in law enforcement. He's a current member of the SWAT team here in San Antonio, and he is a former U.S. Marine and military policeman. I hear a bunch of Ross. I was in the Air Force, so I can't say it right, Jesse. You're going to have to help me out. Jesse Noriega is joining us today. What's going on, brother?
Thanks for having us, man, or having me and Gary and your next guest. I won't tell anybody who the next guest is. We'll leave that as a surprise, but thank you. You know we love you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for being here, brother. Give me one, man. If somebody says, hey, man, I was a U.S. Marine.
Yeah, so, they come up to you. Marines come in all sizes, shapes. My daughters are always like, did you know that guy? It's like, no, I didn't know that guy, but he's a Marine, right?
Yeah.
So we have to bark at each other, right? Arr!
There you go.
Bark. So, yeah.
Look at that dude right there. Did you see that?
Damn.
Yeah,
Who's
man. That's what I'm talking about. Handsome man. All these dudes, all three of my guests, some good looking dudes, man. So, hey, man, I don't have a problem with saying that. It is what it is. In fact, we're going to have a little bicep kind of deal going on here in just a little bit. You didn't know that, but we're going to make it happen.
There you go.
See ya, Jesse. Be right back with you. All right, man. And our next member, our next guest to the show, he is also a current SWAT team member. He's a sniper and chemical agent specialist. He's a SWAT competition team member. This guy has a number of accolades that he doesn't like to talk about, but serious. Like, I'll run it down for you before he gets on the screen. 2018 ITPOA champions in Louisiana. In 18, he was also the him and his team were Texas Tactics Police Officers Association champions. 19, there were the TTPOA, which is a Texas Tactical Police Officers Association champion. These are all SWAT competition championships. 2019 top national SWAT team. This is like considered worlds when it comes to our competitions there in SWAT. It's called the Florida SWAT Roundup. They were the top national team, and they were second overall in this competition, in this Florida SWAT Roundup. So we want to welcome, and he's my teammate on our team, San Antonio Law, the SA Law men's competitive softball team. Let's bring on Jonathan Reyes.
Trini, what's up, brother? I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Nothing.
Hey,
man, it's my honor, man.
It's hard to follow up Gary and Jesse, but you did a good job. I appreciate it. You made me sound really cool. A lot cooler than I am.
Hey, Jesse asked me, he goes, hey, dude, did you get all my certificates that I sent you guys? And we did, but it would have flooded the screen, so we didn't put them on. But, hey, man, I really do appreciate you showing up and also sharing the screen with you guys, man. I'm really happy. So we'll bring everybody back on. And, all right, we got everybody on the screen. So want to go ahead and one of the things I want to do is make sure that everybody understands what this show's about. You know, I personally have been involved, you know, as a SWAT member myself for 9 years. I personally have been involved with these two individuals in Jesse and Jonathan. But one thing I love about the type of service that we provide in the special operations community is you really can hang out with just about any of these dudes. Kind of that same laughter, joke, happy, go lucky type mentality. But then when it comes down to getting work done, we get it done. And so I'm, it's really easy to have a good time with these guys, and I'm looking forward to it tonight. So, all right, let's get the show on the road. So we're going to have some questions coming up here soon. I know that we have people that are tuning in. Let me get rid of some of this stuff on the screen. All right. Hey, so first and foremost, let's talk quickly about, for the people who are just tuning in, and I don't want to assume that everybody understands what it is that a SWAT member is, or being in the military in whatever particular career fields you guys have been in. Can we go ahead and talk about briefly? We'll start with Gary. Gary, let's start with you, man. So what is it that you did before you became a SEAL, what it was, of course, what a SEAL does, and then ultimately, I'm excited about the helicopter aspect of things, man, the Black Hawk aspect of things. Can you touch on that?
Sure. So I had a love for aviation from the beginning, and right out of high school, I graduated high school in '88 and picked up a 4-year degree. Back then, it was called a professional aviation degree. I had my commercial instrument multi-engine license, and no one needed pilots. So I enlisted in the Navy in hopes of becoming a pilot, knowing that my vision was right on the borderline. So I ended up in San Diego working on airplanes as an electronics technician. And after putting in my second officer packet, they said, hey, Bubba, you can't see past the charts. You're going to have to go find something else to do. So right across the street, and I was on Coronado Island, was the Buds compound. And I've been very athletic all of my life. Matter of fact, I didn't even know what a SEAL was in high school. It's just not my thing as far as visibility. And so I got interested in the program. I put in a packet and got accepted. And then in 1996, I got enrolled into Buds Class 208. So Buds is basic underwater demolition / SEAL training. So a whole new career kicked off for me. I made it through, and I graduated in December of the same year. And so SEALs, as we know, is to try to answer your question in under 2 minutes or less, is it's a special operations side of the Navy. SEAL actually stands for Sea, Air, Land, meaning we can deploy and recover from basically the sea, the air, or land. And Mother Ocean is our go-to. And that's really what separates the SEAL side from a lot of the other special operations. And I'll speak lightly with that because I know my man Jesse is a Marine and he is not afraid of the water. But very light. It happened so many times over my career. I heard guys who would come up to me and say, man, I could have made a good SEAL if it wouldn't have been for that whole water part. So,
dude, I was just gonna say that.
And it's a true statement. And you have to, it goes without saying. Over the years, I've tried to refine how I speak about buds and the SEAL teams, because truthfully, guys, if you showed up knowing what you were in for, you had a pretty good chance of making it. And if you showed up and just didn't prepare and said, I'm going to gut through it, all of you guys know it's just like if somebody showed up for SWAT training and they didn't put an ounce worth of preparation, they're probably not going to make it. Only the very few and fortunate. But anyway, that's kind of a snapshot of where that whole thing is going. Unless you had a follow-on question, Trini.
I one of our guys is on the broadcast is Mikey, and he says, "Let's cut to the chase. Gel, mousse, or hairspray, Jonathan?"
It's definitely gel.
I'll tell you what, I appreciate that question, Mikey. I can always count on you for some fun and some laughter. I'll tell you what, man. Gary, you're exactly right. And I did have aspirations as a youngster of that, until I found out that, man, these dudes have to be comfortable with that cold water. And that's my kryptonite. I'm not kidding, man. I cannot stand even cold showers. I hate them. Man.
It was damn near the death of me too. So every SEAL candidate has their own big problem that they have to deal with. I'm a 160 pounder on a good day, and SEALs come in all shapes and sizes, just like Jesse said with the Marines, and you guys are familiar with that, man. If you got the heart and the determination, you can go a long way in life. And that being said, I was not a big guy, so getting in that cold water was no joke for me. Some of the other guys wrestled with the long runs, or O course, even as you guys know about that stuff, or everybody had their own thing to figure out. And the cold water, you're right, brother, and it was no joke, man. And I still don't like the cold water.
Yeah, no. Nope. I'm telling you, I just built my house here recently, and I was all about making sure that we had plenty of propane, everything that we needed to make sure I had as much hot water as I needed, so I never had to go without. Yeah, man. So cool. Well, then I'm going to let you guys go ahead, Jonathan, Jesse, whoever wants to take the lead on what is it, that it is that you guys do, of course, with the SWAT team. What it stands for and all that.
Yeah. So Special Weapons and Tactics is what SWAT stands for. There's different versions of that nationwide. It could be called a Special Response Team, SRTs, ERTs, CERTs. I've been involved with our SWAT team now, coming up on 9 years, I believe. And basically, it's just a group of guys and gals now, Perla, who we just train and prepare for those incidents that are beyond what patrol would be able to handle, or what we would want them to handle, if that makes sense. We don't want to throw our patrol men and women into a critical incident where they're not properly armed and properly trained to deal with something very severe. So that's where we come in. We're support for patrol at the end of the day. So in a nutshell, that's my point of view. Jonathan, he's got a better verbiage than I do.
No, Jesse, you did a great job. At the end of the day, I think you said basically whenever patrol needs somebody and they need assistance, that's when we step in, and then we're able to go and utilize our weapons and utilize our armor, just based on the various amounts and the various times that we trained. But I think Jesse summed it up really, really well.
All right. So I'll tell you that one of the things that I understood that was somebody brought up before we had the show, they're like, hey, man, so you're going to have these special forces guys on. And it was interesting because as I was doing a little bit of research, I found out that it's really, and Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, man, because I'm not coming from a place of experience, just research. Special forces is kind of reserved for the Green Berets. Is that correct as far as Army Green Berets? Because I understood we named the show Special Operations, but I was doing some research and I found out that Special Forces, these guys it's kind of weird. It's like that's the only Special Forces that there is. I don't know if that's something that that you're familiar with as far as that distinction or designation.
I think you could really get into the weeds here on this. It's true.
Really?
Special Forces it's an Army piece, and actually, it's different because it falls under different tier levels, and I wouldn't want to bore the audience with all of that stuff. But the truth is, your tier 1 units are Naval Special Warfare Development Group, and that's of course SEAL Team Hooyah, which it's hard for me to even say the name these days, man, because after serving at the team, it was information you didn't give out. But anyway, my point being is that's the Tier 1 operation set for the Navy, and for the Army, it's CAG or Delta, and then everybody else kind of falls under that, whether it's Rangers, and that's a particular set of structure, and so it's Special Forces. So, but it really all does get blended up in the pot whenever you're talking with the nation, and special operations is a great buzzword to cover it all.
Good, because the reason I focused on that, Gary, was because I remember being on the team. We'd have people who would call the office and they would say, "Hey, I want to know what it takes because I want to join the department. I want to go straight to SWAT." And it's interesting because if we think about this show, there's a lot of people who don't know even really much about special operations. And some people do believe that you can come on a police department and go straight to SWAT. And so that's why I wanted to bring that distinction up, just as a little bit of a kind of like, hey, there is a certain amount of experience that you need to be able to have before you can be qualified, if you will, to join. And one of the things we explained, Jonathan, Jesse, you guys can take this. You're my guest. What is it that you tell people when they're considering getting onto a SWAT unit and they want to talk about joining the police department? Because here's the thing, guys, is there are a lot of people who, I'm telling you, man, it's interesting how little people actually know about special operations. And so we're gonna talk about that a little bit in the beginning before we go into some other some really cool videos and some pictures. So yeah, if you guys want to talk about why it is that you can't join the police department and just go straight to SWAT.
I'll tell you, we're in a very unique situation in San Antonio where we have a full-time SWAT team. That is our job. I show up to work as a SWAT operator. Jonathan shows up to work as a SWAT operator. That's what we do 100% of the time. Our duties, of course, throughout the range of the week, the month, whatever varies. There's various things that we'll end up doing. So we are unique in that aspect. A lot of SWAT teams nationwide don't have the luxury of being full-time teams, so they're doing collateral duty as patrol officers and as SWAT operators. And I tell you, those guys sacrifice a lot. That's a lot of time. A lot of the time is volunteered. So my heart goes out to those guys. So that's what's unique about San Antonio and your major cities across the country is that if they have a full-time SWAT team, they're very fortunate. And I'm sure those operators are grateful that they're able to function that way. Jonathan, all yours,
right.
Man.
Yeah, I think like Jesse said, we got a full-time SWAT team. The only the downside with that, not the downside, but there's 25 guys on a team. And their spot doesn't open up until someone decides to promote or, advance in their career. So that actually gives the officer who actually just joined right out of the academy the ability to go on patrol. Just in my case, I knew that you had to have a certain number of years and I had to wait for somebody to leave. And I think it's all different backgrounds. Like Jesse's military. I didn't have the luxury of going to military or anything like that. So I came straight from college. So I knew that I had to train a lot. So basically coming on patrol, training, and usually the requirement changes sometimes. But right now it's right about 5 years, I'd say, Jesse, in order to try
to 4 to 5 years. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I think a great thing that we used to discuss was, one of the things that people don't realize is we don't just train SWAT stuff all day long. We're also a proactive team. So we go out and we are proactive in our community. If there's a hot spot in the area, we'll go and hit that area for whatever particular problem or issue that we're having. We'll go out and we'll be proactive. And it's very important that when you're in that environment that you have enough experience to recognize what you're looking for in certain areas. And without experience, to be able to recognize those situations, or without the maturity to be able to be on a team, to be able to have the type of, patience sometimes, or, the ability to be able to process a situation and to be able to react accordingly, that comes with experience. And so since we're a specialized unit, it's definitely important to have that experience. So I think that that's an important aspect of why it is that you do need to have some experience before you can get on a specialized unit. Gary, how is it, over there on, for SEALs, is it kind of that same mentality or?
It's surprisingly similar. So Buds is 6 months long, and then you get assigned to a team, and then even at that point, you're on another probationary period. At least when I was there, it's changed throughout the years.
Yeah, understood.
But you have to wait. So just because you graduate Buds doesn't mean you're a SEAL. You don't get to pin your trident until months later when you kind of prove yourself again. And that being said, so that's what's called basically known as the vanilla teams. You go from Buds to a regular team on the East Coast or the West Coast. And again, back in those days, you had to spend at least 4 to 5 years at a regular SEAL team, and they wanted you to do 3 deployments before you could even petition to go over to Dam Neck or SEAL Team 6. And then if you got approval to go to SEAL Team 6, then it was another 9-month kick in the junk to prove yourself there. So very similar to what you guys are saying, is very structured when it comes to, you have to pay your dues. And as much as I like to have fun with the rest of them, if you can't perform in any of the stuff that we're talking about, then you're going to go away, Yeah. And I think that's a very important point with the order and the chaos, the yin and the yang, and what we're talking about. If there's guys and gals out there who are interested in going in any type of special operations environment, you better be ready to perform.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, man. So I want to thank Nick for tuning in, man. He's from California. He says, hey, I appreciate you. You're a great man making great content. Keep it up. Love from the Jackson family in Cali. Thank you so much. Linda, thank you for joining us. You always show so much support for us on this show. Matt Tidwell, great to see you doing great things, Trini. I appreciate that. Pop, thank you very much. My son, he says, as a child, I've always been interested in special ops, so I'm hyped for this show. I'm sure he's going to have a pretty good question for us. Pretty good question that's going to come up. We'll let him have it. Kenneth, thank you so much for tuning in. My other son from Oklahoma. So on that note, one of the things I want to be able to highlight before we get into some different topics is, we're talking about special, weapons and tactics. We're talking about special operations. One of the things that people, I know that they know the type of work and effort that goes into to be a special operations. But I want to give you an example of that. This is a competition that when we talked about earlier on the show about, our competition team, I'm going to tell you, man, we have an unbelievable competition team here in San Antonio. And so I want to show just a little clip of one of those competitions. Jonathan, if you don't mind, man, maybe guide us through once you see this video. But I want to give everyone just a little bit of a taste of what it is that these SWAT operators continue to do, to not only do what it is that's required of them on duty, but they go above and beyond with this competition team. People will think it's like, like an ego type thing, and it's not, man. These guys are truly interested in continuing to improve and prepare themselves through these competitions for what they might face on the streets. So we're going to cut to this video real quick.
Hey, raise enough targets, Sal. Raise enough targets. All right, got it. $95 left. 95 left. Big target. 95 left. Big orange targets. You got it. 95 left. Be still. 150 right. 100 left. 100 left. Go, boy. 150 right. Break. Okay, come this way. Come this way. Now, this way. I got it. Shoot house, all right?
Oh, that was so.
All right, I'm back. I had to do some push-ups during that video, man. I had to do some push-ups, bro. I can't sit here and watch stuff like that and not have some push-ups in, man. I'm telling you, I'm getting all hyped.
There you go. I was kind of going to narrate it, but it said the mic was muted. That right there, that event was in Conroe, and that was a hostage rescue event. It was sniper initiated. We had to climb up a Mars vehicle. There was different targets, and we had to have a sniper-initiated shot, followed by us fast roping down, and then go into a house with different targets, rescue a hostage, and then back to the finish line. But I'll tell you first, before we get into all the competitions, is we've always had a very, very good competition team from Trini before you were on to the time you were there to the prior guys. We've always had a great crew and a great job of everybody from the 90s to present. And so we have the luxury of learning from those guys. We had the luxury of really accelerating our learning, accelerating the techniques. Everything that we utilize in the competitions are from the past and the prior guys.
Let me add to that. While they train Trini, they're still responding and doing everything we do as operators every day. Yep. So these guys, they don't get to shut down for however many weeks, days they want to train for. That's an additional volunteer team that they perform in. So my hat goes off to these guys. They're badasses, man. And I know I benefit as an operator because these guys just get better and better. So when we're out there really doing what we got to do, these guys are going to perform. So
absolutely.
I think like Jesse said it, but a lot of the guys that stay back home and they're a great support system. We're split up into two shifts. The night shift picks a lot of our slack up, as well as the daylight shift. So when we're out there, we're running long hours, and we're shooting, we're working out. Those guys back at the office are helping us out, and they're taking extra shifts, and they're picking up our slack. But when it's time to come in, we'll come in and we'll help them out.
Yeah. Hey, and before I comment, Brian, thank you for tuning in, brother. He says, it wasn't until I worked with you S.A.P.D. SWAT guys regularly that I realized just how truly disciplined y'all are. It's not just kick butt and take names like many would think. And what I like about that is that, there is a misconception. That's why we started this show off with Gary just being freaking Gary, man. You look at that dude, man, and all these dudes can be on a freaking calendar somewhere. Come on, man. In fact, I was going to make a comment about that. When I'm on this show, it gets me, man. I'm 51, got a little gray showing right now. And so you guys are here, and man, this is what I have to tell myself at this point in my life. That's what I got to do, man. I got to do that, and being on the show just doesn't help me much. So anyway, hey man, I was gonna say that, we have George J. Hant who's tuning in today. Hey, George, thank you so much for tuning in, brother. George was on the team for an extremely long amount of time and so much knowledge. And one thing I will say is that without the cooperation of supervisors, without the cooperation, of the team that supports our competition guys, it doesn't happen. So thank you guys to all of our supervisors and to our team that take up that slack. So, all right. Well, I think we've got maybe one more clip we'll show because I know people really wanted to tune in to be able to see some of that. Let's see if we got one more show from one of your, or one more video from one of those competitions that we have. Let's see. That is your team, San Antonio. That is your team that's out there protecting you. One more video real quick, because I know everybody's loving this. Let's show that one more video. It's a short video, but I really like this part a lot, man. This is a really neat video, and then we'll go into some questions that we've got.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I like that coordination right there.
Yeah.
So give us just a brief rundown on those two, just briefly, Jonathan.
Definitely. That was a tower scramble. So basically, we shot pistol. We ran up into a 5-story tower. We shot some rifle, elevated rifle, and then we went up to the very top and rappelled down. But like I said, those competitions, they serve a great purpose for us because it ramps up the adrenaline. It puts us in a different situation. And you can compare it to work. They're all scenario based. So when we get to actual work, it actually helps us out. Makes you calm down, makes you kind of slow down and think about everything, break that tunnel vision.
So these things. Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
I was going to add, Trini, you can't talk about those competitions for TTPOA without mentioning Rocky Riojas.
Absolutely.
1168, who the championship trophy is named after. So we have a passion with our guys to bring that trophy home to Rocky's wife every year. For those viewers that don't know who Rocky was killed in the line of duty in 2001. I believe it was March 2001. The only SWAT operator in San Antonio that's ever been killed in the line of duty. So badasses, these dudes. And I could have sworn y'all were making music with all those planks.
No.
It sounds like the, I don't know, like belongs in a movie or something. I don't know.
And Jesse hit it right on the head, man. That whole Texas competition is solely to bring that trophy back. The tradition that we've had over the past years, man, it's just it gives me chills thinking about it. But like I said, that's the main purpose. That's the main goal. That's why from everybody from the competition team to the guys back home, that we all take care of each other and we're all working for that one goal.
Absolutely. And, of course, that was in my district when Rocky passed. That was our district. Actually, it was the district next to me when he passed. And he was out. We were looking for car burglars. And we had a big problem at that point with car burglars. And Rocky recognized this individual and man, did what Rocky does, man. Goes out and at the time, solo. And went out and did what he needed to do, and ultimately paid that price for the love of the citizens of San Antonio. So, definitely a big shout out, to the Riojas family. We also, on that note, Gary, I've listened to a few of your podcasts and a few of your interviews, and this is a great segue into a couple of guys that you've mentioned amongst many, because it was very difficult for you to try to name one or two guys, but there were a couple of people that stood out in your mind, man. And if you want to take this opportunity to go ahead and, pay homage to these two individuals we talked about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I love being on this show with you guys, man, and sharing this stuff. It does me very well. The two guys he's talking about is Nate Hardy and Mike Koch, who were also Dam Neck employees, so to speak, and they were doing the job. They were dishing the business, and I actually wasn't read on who was number one and who was the number two man. But both of you guys are tacticians, man, and you know how we do. The number one man goes one way, the number two guy goes the other way, and they ate it right in the face, man. And neither one of those guys returned alive. And I brought those guys up on a Memorial Day podcast because they had that zest for life, man. They were wonderful dudes, good dudes in the gym, good dudes on the road, good guys when it came to just being stand-up citizen soldiers, which is very near and dear to my heart, man. Just salt of the earth kind of guys who you would just you hate to see it, and they were absolutely special because the way that I put it in the Memorial podcast was, you think of SEALs as big, rough, tough, and mean ass guys that you don't want to speak to in a grocery store, but these guys were the opposite, man. They were just they were outstanding dudes, and we miss them.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, especially in the current state of affairs, and again, I don't like to get into politics on this show because I'm not a political person, and I'm not going to go there because I don't research it enough, and I'm not interested in that. This is my therapy. It's my show. I get the say so on what we get to talk about and what we don't. So that being said, I like to highlight exactly what it is that I know 99.99999% of us do, and that is that flag that's sitting right there, along with the whatever you wear, a badge, stripes. I don't care. I was careful with that one because we got kids on this show, but I don't care what you do, man. As a community, you need to know that when you're looking at, I'll include myself on this one. I don't do it very often, but I know damn well what I signed up for when I joined the military and what I signed up for when I became a policeman. And I knew that I found a cause that was bigger than myself. And that cause was you people that are out there right now. Every one of you, it doesn't matter who you are, what your beliefs are, or how you handle yourself. In the end, I would absolutely, just like these three dudes on the show, would take a bullet and continue to move forward to protect the liberties and the freedoms that we have in the greatest country in the world. So again, I just sometimes I get on my soapbox, but it's my show and I can do that. Cynthia Ortiz, fantastic content. If any one of our first responders in Bexar County needs assistance with additional training, the 100 Club is just a phone call away. That's awesome, Cynthia. We are always ready to assist with valuable training that isn't covered by the city. Send an email or call, and we are here to help. Cynthia, will you please? I know it's the 100 Club, but if you don't mind, you can share that whatever email address you want to send, because that's so valuable. It hurt my heart when I'd go to different organizations sometimes, whether it be for training or competitions. And when I found out part-time units, part-time funding, I didn't know how they did their job with all the training that we get. And I felt for these smaller agencies and that didn't get that type of thing. So Cynthia, it's awesome of the 100 Club to be able to offer that to us. So thank you very much. All right. So I'm glad that we're able to pay that homage. Thank you so much, Jesse. You should be the host. You should help me co-host this show, because I was going there, but you're good. You're really good.
Yes.
All right. So we've got some training, man. Gary, I know that, we've shown some pictures. I want to highlight the dedication of some of these individuals, these dudes that are on our show. Man, I want to show a picture of Gary of some of the places you've been. And here's the thing I want to comment on, Gary, on a couple of these pictures. And we have some mountaintop type pictures of where you were at. And I'm not going to ask you, to say where you were at. But what I will say is I've been overseas. I've gone to Desert Shield. And I know what it felt like to land in a zone where, it's considered a war zone. It's a blacked out air base. You're with glow sticks. You hear all these foreign languages and you go, oh, hell. It's the first time that I realized, although I appreciated it, I never really understood the security that we have here in the United States. Because there, if it went down, I couldn't just run a couple of blocks, find a house, hit the door, they take me in, we call 911, and in Texas, they got guns, so I'm good. But, when you're in some of the environments like you've been, for instance, if we can show a couple of those pictures, please. Here, Gary, here's one of the things I'm going to ask you. You don't have to tell me where you were. It's up to you. But, dudes on this show, we like big guns. So I am interested in what that gun is there in your background. There's one more picture we can show them. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Man, isn't it weird, Gary? Some of the places that you've been, isn't it weird how beautiful the earth still is? I know I'm getting a little deep, but I mean, man, look at that view. And, it's weird to think that so much can happen that's in a war zone, yet you can still sit back and look at, beautiful sights like that. I mean, do you experience that much?
That both of those pictures were taken in Afghanistan in my early days, and both that was during my days at SEAL Team 6. So we had a lot of leverage to kind of do our own things. That's why the uniforms don't look like a lot of uniforms, and we did hang it out, man. And before I go too deep into that, and I don't want to go too deep, but I want to say that with my remarks, man, I saw a couple of things, but not near as bad as some of the other guys out there. I always like to lead with some humility, man, because I think on a straight voltage note that we're only as good as what we're bringing to the table right this minute. So that being said, those pictures were in the, right after things got kicked off, probably in the early 2000s. And the one by the big gun there, honestly, that was some Army stuff and some Afghanistan stuff. You can see the one in the back. That's a Mark 19 there, and we climbed up on that perch to have a photo op. Anyway, man, you're absolutely right. I love the dudes that I deployed with, and we, at Dam Neck or SEAL Team 6, we had a lot of latitude to run and gun, to do things the way we did. As a matter of fact, the way that I described some of the way that we operated was like, put your mouthpiece in, move forward, and don't shoot anybody who looks like you. So, I don't know if you have any other specific questions, man. I really.
That was cool, man. I saw that gun out there, and I was like, holy smokes, man, that thing's huge. Hey, so Cynthia, contact the 100 Club anytime. We're www.100clubsa.org, and there's their phone number. And so please reach out if you are interested in getting some of that training. It's really great information. So Paul Trinidad. Hey, Trinidad, go figure. Hey, man, Paul's my older brother, and he's making a comment, or he's asking a question. As an athlete leading many teams, I know you always have that one or two weak or weaker individuals on your team. In your line of work, how does the team handle them, especially in such critical situations?
Man, I'll tell you, Trini, the saying, obviously, you're only as strong as the weakest link. It applies everywhere across the board. So what we do in our team in the Special Operations world with SWAT, we ensure everyone is top notch. I'm not going to say that we take the best the police department has to offer, because some of the best want to be detectives, some of the best want to do other things. But we take the best that want to be in SWAT. We do tell them ahead of time. We do kind of give them a heads up of what the expectation is. That weakest link cannot be weak. That's just it. There's no alternative to that. So our goal is to keep everybody up to par, so that when it comes time to perform, we can all perform. That's not to say we don't have bad days, but I think as a brotherhood, the team, the camaraderie that we have, I think I can tell when John's not on his A game. I don't know. For whatever reason, maybe he's not looking as pretty for that day. So, if he wants to sit it out, he can sit it out. We can do that. But standards usually take care of that weak link. We have high standards. You got to meet them, and that's just it. There's no alternative for us when it comes to designating someone that would be weak. I don't think they'd make it to the team if they were. That's my opinion.
I think just to add what Jesse's saying, on the team, we have a wealth of knowledge. There's so many guys from the night shift to the daylight that know so many things. Those guys recognize that, and they're really, really good at going over there and actually staying after training, maybe going before training, or maybe just off to the side. But they do a great job of going out there and actually maybe giving them some extra tips, maybe some techniques, anything like that. But the team has, so many knowledgeable individuals that they do a great job.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So we're going to switch gears a little bit into what it is that, we like to do in our off time. And one of the things I like to talk about is humanizing that badge. We still have some cool videos, still have some cool pictures that we're going to show you guys. But one of the things that we highlighted in that video is Gary. And I'm telling you, man, this guy has blown me away. When you talk about being a helicopter pilot, come on, man. Then you join our military, the Army. What did you do in the Army, Gary, just outside of, what was it again that you did in the Army?
That's where I did my helicopter aviation time.
Okay. So then you got the helicopter pilot, you got the SEAL teams, you're a cook, you're a pianist, and dude, it's crazy to me how you can span all these different arenas. And what I love the most is you still got such a wonderful, just personality that it was like pulling teeth, like a lot of my other guests, to just try to get you to tell me something about your accomplishments. Because you just hey, man, that's a part of me, but it doesn't define me. Can you expand on that, Gary? Because a lot of people, they have this perception that anyone that's in special ops, that's what they walk around doing, man. They beat their chest, they sit there and they talk about that all day long. Yet, it's so the opposite, but it's so hard to explain to to people in the and civilians that that's just not what we are. It's who we need to be when it hits the fan, but that's just not who we are as a majority. Can you expand on that, like not defining you?
Sure. I got to start off with saying that I feel very grateful, and I was blessed by the good Lord, man, especially when it comes to playing that piano. My folks sat me down at the piano when I was 8, 9, or 10 years old. I can't remember. And I took a shine to it, and I never stopped. Even when it was weird as a 13-year-old boy to be playing piano, and I was very athletic even back in those days. It's something that I never gave up. And a quick straight voltage note, man. So I took it all the way into college, and I got hired at a honky tonk in Natchitoches, Louisiana. And I paid for my junior and senior year of college by playing piano, man. And I had a great time. But anyway, I couldn't agree more that the beating on the chest thing doesn't define us. And I would take that one step further. And I think some of the other guys might agree with me. The longer I went in my military career, especially being embedded in special operations, the guys who beat their chests the hardest were normally the first guys to go away while they did the least amount of shit.
Great point.
The most humble guys out there were the ones who were really getting the job done. And like I always, a key word for me is performance. I talk to myself that way all the time. Gary, you've got to perform. Don't, accountability and all these other things that we know on a daily basis with how we talk to ourselves. But the whole zest for life that I have, the cooking and the piano playing, and I got to give those straight up to the boss. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to sit around with you and watch sports on TV. It's not how my mind works. So I've always liked to grow, and again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm making fun of anybody, but if you're the guy who's like the biggest thing you ever did in your life was you the star quarterback,
I agree,
or that guy, and that's, you look back on that, well, we've got some things to show you, brother, because you can continue to grow even as we know, Trini, into our 50s, man. We're not going to stop here, and it's never too late to pick up an instrument or pick up a hobby or do something like that. So I love that you're bringing that aspect up. For the folks to hear out there, you can really do some unique things where you have to perform, but you can still be a human being and cut up and have a good time, man.
Yeah. I think that's so important because there's so much of a perception created by movies and things of that sort, and when somebody meets you, and it's one of those things where one of the first things they talk about is like, oh, hey, that was Trini, who's on SWAT. And don't get me wrong, extremely proud to have been a part of that unit. Hey, I like that. Whoa. Nice. Whoa. Like that gold chain action. It was a little late. It was a little earlier at the time. That was the way it should be at that time. But, it's sometimes it kind of like, because, I hate for people to think that defines me as a person. Jesse, Jonathan?
Yeah, I agree. All of us have a life. What we do is just a job. Of course, we do immerse ourselves in that job. And I'm hoping that everyone else that does other jobs will immerse themselves to it, and they have a passion for it. But there's a time and place for it. You can't be walking around with that SWAT, nightlight, I guess, telling everybody who you are, what you do. That's just arrogant, and I think you have this group, us four here right now, and I think there's a reason why there's good chemistry here. It's because I think we're all pretty humble. Again, we do have a passion for what we do, but it's got its place. We're all family people, family men. I'm proud of what I do with SWAT, but I also have history, and I expect to do a lot of things in the future too outside of SWAT. I have this joke for the new guys that come in. We all get a cell phone and it goes off, and I say, it's all cool in the first barbecue. You show your phone to everybody. I have a call out. I may not make it, save some burgers for me or whatever. I'll be back.
I may not make it. For me, it was a pager.
Yeah, that's right. But it's cool only like one or two times. Then after that, it's like, oh man, like you're trying to live your life and critical incidents occur and you have to go. That's your job. I get it. But that coolness, you put it away right away, especially with the humbleness of the group. Again, people like Jonathan and our team that are humble, are great at what they do. These guys, I know I'm only 32.
What?
But
What? No.
Come on.
I'll tell you this, and I won't get on his crank too much, but at 46, I look at these guys, and man, these guys are way better than we were at that age. They're humble, they want to learn, and they want to perform. And a lot of times, you get to see these guys wanting to perform because they don't want to let the team down. And that passion is what I love about these guys. And then knowing that they have a life outside of SWAT makes them human beings, makes us human beings.
Yeah.
So again, I love our teammates, love our guys. They're badass dudes, that's for sure.
Alfred says, I would. We know what that means. So I'll tell you, Ray Salinas says, John has a big gun. And he's talking about his biceps because he showed that earlier.
Come on, Ray.
Let's see. We got Stephen Antu says, yeah, but does Gary, I know it's what he meant. Does Gary play softball? I don't know if Gary plays softball. We're part of Jonathan and I.
I think if you play the piano, you don't need to play anything else. That's enough right there.
Hey, let me.
But you get this guy to play softball, stand by. There isn't one thing that this guy doesn't end up doing that he's not good at. So
I agree.
Stop giving all the attention, Gary.
I agree. In fact, but Gary, just so you know, just in case you need a little instructional video on how that whole softball thing goes, check this out.
Let's see it.
He could have stretched that into a home run, but he was being cool. Hold on. One more. This one, I like it, man. So again, we're a part of the S.A.Law, San Antonio Law Men's Competitive Softball League, and I'll tell you what, man. If you don't know who, it's a second video. It was 2 videos that we had. We had that one where we hit a base hit, and then we had a second one. So we'll see if let's bring that one up real quick. Press pause on that real quickly. All right. I want you to take note of this catcher. We'll rewind that. Let's start it all over again. Look at this dude. And then focus on what Jonathan does at the plate.
Let's go, buddy.
That's gone. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's my boy right there.
I appreciate that, Trini. Jeez. Let me tell you a quick story. So San Antonio Law, just like the TTPOA, without mentioning S.A.Law, we got to mention Val Lopez. But I didn't know any of that coming in, and as a rookie, first got on probationary, still just broke out by myself. And I played baseball in college. I was fortunate enough to play baseball at Texas A&M in Corpus. And I remember Manny Reyes was asking me to come play softball. The only thing that I only known softball as a girl sport. But I went out there and I had a tryout. And that's the first time I met Trini. Went out there. He was out there in the outfield. I think he put baby oil all over his body. He was just glistening.
I'm not ashamed. I was trying to get some sun.
Come on. And so now we had the tryout. But what I'm trying to get to, man, is I thought it was softball. I didn't think it was very competitive. But besides the competition, besides traveling, it's the camaraderie with the guys. I wouldn't trade that for the world. Man, softball has been a big part of my career while I've been with S.A. Law and then the police department. But I enjoy the most, more than playing the games, is hanging out with the guys. That's what I really enjoy. We're about to go Thursday. There we are right there. Yeah. That's tea. So they're drinking some moonshine.
No, that's sweet tea.
Sweet tea in Vegas.
Yeah. We had just won the championship out in Vegas, and we had sweet tea because we were from Texas.
That's right. Yes. My apologies. Yeah, but no, it's great. The camaraderie of the guys. Like I said, for example, we're going Thursday, and we're grabbing a big house, Airbnb, and then we're all staying in it. But it's just a great experience, man. It's a fun time being around the guys.
You know, that's one thing that you can talk about when you join, just in general, whether it be a police officer, fireman, military, EMT. Again, back to what we're talking about with this conference. What we're trying to do with this conference, which, again, tickets went on sale at the beginning of this podcast. And one thing I can promise you is that when you come here, you're going to be amongst the people who think like you think when it comes to the appreciation for, you know, our country and our service. And it's going to give you an opportunity to feel safe. You know, it is for first responders, so we have an opportunity to be able to express ourselves and to be able to listen to a word that sometimes you can't get from a civilian aspect, not because it's not valuable, just because sometimes you have a little bit of a challenge hearing from somebody who maybe hasn't experienced what you've experienced in the past. And when you talk about deep subject matters such as, which is a part of the reality of what we do, man, you want to talk about addiction. You know, it's alcohol, drug addiction. You want to talk about PTSD. You know, we got to highlight some of the fun things about today, but man, when you talk about the loss of these loved ones that you share the field with, and I'm not talking about softball, I'm talking about out in the field, you know, patrol with, you know, you get to meet their families. You get to see things that people don't normally see in life, man. I mean, it's not normal to see things like I've seen, a baby lifeless. To see a family in a car, all passed away, you know, from the ages of, you know, 3 years on up to a father's age, probably mid-40s. And, you know, when you see what's the remaining effect of a car accident, like, you know, when you have to take, you know, maybe you have to take a life, or you know, you see a life taken, again, like a partner or something. That's just not normal, man. It's not what people are supposed to see in their life. You know, if they experience once or twice, I mean, that's one thing. But, you know, when you talk about first responders and, you know, a lot of times firemen and EMTs, they don't get the type of credit they deserve. You know, I've seen firemen, or heard, over the radio being shot at. You know, we see videos of these trucks being attacked, you know, things of that sort. I mean, it's just not normal, man. And so having an outlet like softball, playing piano, cooking, dancing like I don't know what that was, Gary. I need to clarify what that was. I'm thinking it's a very small puppy that was just happy with life and was about to get a treat. What was that? Because I did want to ask that, and I'm so happy I didn't get to.
No, man.
That.
No. Well, you got something right. It wasn't a puppy. It wasn't a bunny rabbit either. You know? That's a bull, man. Come on.
Oh, shit. Well, we're going to have to work on that, brother. I think maybe this one would have been better, but that was this. And I'm pretty sure that that's what that was.
Those are big horns. Definitely big horns.
Hey, man. But again, man, I just, you know, I want to highlight that lighter side of things because we need that. And that's what this conference is going to bring to people. So please, if you are considering, not even just for yourself, man. I'm not talking about just what you may need. What about your partners that call you up? What about your partners that pull you aside, like I've been pulled aside and said, hey, man, Trini, you have time to talk? Dude, I've sat in parking lots for hours talking to teammates because they're having, you know, some issues or some things. And I'm so honored that I was trusted with that. And I didn't realize how much of a difference it made in their lives until I went through my first bout with cancer. And I had these messages and these phone calls and visits from people that told me what I had done for them by spending time with them. So I encourage you, whether you need it, you may not think you need it, but you do know damn well that you're going through something. And you know that it's very difficult as first responders because we're so used to having answers for other people that sometimes we don't know how to help ourselves, you know, to give ourselves these answers. We don't spend a lot of time on that, man. We're so consumed with helping others and then get home and help our families. And we don't have that outside way of thinking that we all need. I'm going to help you right now, man. You listen to Les Brown. You listen to Alan Watts. You listen to Tony Robbins. You listen to these people, and they're going to give you that way of thinking that I think is extremely important for you to be able to handle the challenges that come with not only being that first responder, but then turning around and coming home and being who you need to be to your son. I have fell short.
And when you talk about that, I think that's one of the things people don't realize. And to a certain degree, they don't have to realize. The public doesn't, in my opinion. I don't want to tell the public what we go through, because that is part of our service to them. There are men and women, great men and women, in the military, the police department, units, whatever. Man, we see what we see. We've got to deal with it. We find ways to deal with it. I'll tell you, being in the police department now 19 years. I don't know if you remember, Trini. We were on dog watch together. And after 19 years, it's nice to see, first of all, considering myself an old man, and I could say back in the day, I never thought I'd be there. But being able to see the transition from, you don't talk about this. You're a badass. You hold it in. You don't shed tears. You don't do any of that. To nowadays, we're able to talk about it. I can go to my teammates. I can go to services and say, hey, here's the problem. Here's what I'm feeling. Here's what I'm dealing with. Let's make sense of it. And I think nowadays, at least in San Antonio, we've made leaps and bounds where we're able to deal with stuff like this. And the fact that you have this conference coming up, and you're not just dealing with, hey, we're going to show you how to do CQB here, kick indoors there. You're running the whole spectrum of training, and the specialists that you're going to bring in. I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Because again, there was a time where we couldn't do that. It was frowned on, and I won't use the word, but you weren't looked at as a man.
And there was a certain. The fear is, and I still do think that it exists today to a degree, is weakness. How can you be an officer? How can you be a SEAL? How can you be in the military when you're going up and saying, I have a problem? And, I think that's I think it has gotten a lot better. But I think that's the importance of this conference is that not in all departments and not all supervisors view things like that. And so where I was going with earlier, Jesse, and thank you for jumping in on that, is, I believe if you want to sit here and tell me that you haven't fallen short in categories, whether it be your marriage, raising your children, or whatever, you're full of it. You're completely full of it. And I'm going to call you out right now. And that's why I think that my obligation to my fellow first responders is to be vulnerable and to be able to expose those things, because not everybody can do it. I'm capable of it, and I'm okay with dealing with whatever comes with that. What I can tell you is that as long as you continue to try to improve on areas, continue to try to be better and to improve on your weaknesses, hey man, that to me is so commendable. Again, because of what we do as first responders, it can be extremely difficult, and we can tend to keep it in. So I don't want to get too deep into it, but what I will say is like Chris is saying, John, está bien cute. Laugh out loud. Let's see. How come no one asked Jesse if he uses gel or hairspray?
Jesse.
I'll tell you, let's see here. We are going to get into a little bit of a kind of talking about, oh, man, that's my mom on the show, man. If y'all give me just a quick second. My mom says, after hearing your special operation guests discuss their experiences, I will invite young men and women that are thinking of joining a military branch to see your program. We got Jordan listening in. He's active duty right now, and I won't get into anything more about you, Jordan, at this point. But what I will say is, I am so happy, and Gary and I were talking about this when I went through the MEPS entry deal, whatever you want to call it. When I went through MEPS, which is a process of like before you get ready to go off to your boot camp, they gave us an opportunity to be able to raise your right hand, and they told you, look, you're getting ready to raise your right hand. You're in for the long haul, and You have a couple of minutes. You can walk out and there's no issues. Nobody will stop you. Nobody's going to question you. But once you raise your right hand, you're in. You belong to us. And, that comes with a price. Dude, it blew me away. And I've mentioned this before on the program. That I believe it was 3. It might have been 2, but I believe it was 3 that got up and walked out. And dude, I was blown away by, man, what were they thinking? Later on, I came to find out that some people were really just interested in like the college kind of, the whole military kind of like paying for your college once you go in or whatever. The reason I went into this is because when my mom makes that comment, I am impressed. So every day, man, that I see these young cats still in a volunteer force that are saying, I'll go and I'll do this, knowing damn well what I'm going into, and I'll still do it because I care about this country enough that I'll go and make these sacrifices that I've already heard. And I just want to tell everybody out there that signs up, I'm extremely happy that you guys are out there willing to pick it back up where we left off and continue, providing for our country. Yeah, sincerely appreciative of you guys. So thank you very much.
On that too, Trini, I went into the Marine Corps in '92. I'm not sure what year you went in. There was no war going on at the time. There was no terrorism. There was terrorism, but we weren't involved in fighting it head on. So you have these men and women that signed on after 9/11, knowing there was a war going on. I'll tell you, they have bigger guts than I do. Knowing they were going to go into harm's way no matter what. So my hat goes off again to them. They're badass dudes, men and women, after 9/11. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I went on in 89 to 91. That's when I was in.
Whoa.
So that was that time. Well,
Wow.
Hey, whoa, who's that young
Slim
guy
and
right
trim.
there? Look at that cat.
Wow.
Look at that dude, man. That's all black hair then.
Wow.
I'll tell you, Arnold wants to know, Jonathan, how do you keep your abs chiseled 365 days out of the year and keep your hair so perfect the whole tournament? And what product do you use?
Arnold, stop it. Gosh. And just to let you guys know, Trini egged this on right here. He egged it on. Arnold, I'll tell you all the tips and secrets Thursday. But the hair gel, it's kind of weird. It's a little cheap hair gel. You get it out at an HEB, convenience store. It's called Moco de Gorilla. And I think you know what I'm talking about.
Busta Wayne goes, his only home run all year.
Cody. Yeah, and I expect nothing less from him. But
Hey, listen,
he's probably right.
I'll tell you what, we've had, what's so neat about this episode is we've maintained viewership through this whole episode, and I'm really excited about that. What I want to do is I want to highlight a little bit of what you guys going on so people can follow you and support you. I know, Gary, we've talked about this, and Jesse, but we're going to go with Gary first and give him the opportunity to highlight who he wants to highlight. We've got a few kind of cool things to show.
I think I know what question you're asking as far as the guys here in San Antonio, boss. Is that what we're talking about?
And he does a lot of cool stuff, but he's also one hell of a realtor. So here we go. Man, dear, right here. I've heard nothing but great things about Gary. He's also a solid realtor. So I know we're getting ready to get into Trey, and that's one of the things I'm talking about there.
Okay, I got you now. Thank you. Well, as most of you know, I'm not from San Antonio. We spoke about me being from Louisiana. My family and I moved here. My wife and I were raising 4 cool kids, and as of basically 16, 17, and 18 in those years, I was doing aviation jobs after the military. So I flew helicopters for a while. I actually flew fixed wing in the airlines for a little while. And I was never home. So I met George Chavez with Viciously Loyal. His stepdaughter and my stepdaughter danced together, and we made friends. And he's just been the most resourceful guy here for me in San Antonio, bar none, man. He's the reason that I met Trey Serrano. He's the reason that I got in the room with Jesse Noriega, and those are my absolute favorites, man. I wouldn't be able to conduct San Antonio business without them 3 cats, man. I'm very grateful for them.
George and Annalise, I really enjoy their company. They fit right in line with what it is that we do and who they are as people. And I know we're getting into them as far as viciously loyal. In fact, I think we've got a little something here. Let's show you something. Hey, real quickly before we go to it, pay attention to this because we are all viciously loyal about something. Check this out.
Viciously loyal is whatever matters to you, whatever you stand up for, lay it down for, your persona, what you've walked your entire life. That's what you're viciously loyal to, whether it's your faith, your family, your service. You take care of yourself, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and that dude or woman next to you is going to take care of you. I'm here because I honor you, and I'm here to protect you, and I'm here to help you with this endeavor. You do not have to wear a uniform. You do not have to stand on yellow footprints. You don't have to carry a gun to be in service. And if I could preach one thing, is to tell everybody, trust me when I say that if you serve, you will benefit in life.
That's a cool commercial.
Yeah, man.
You didn't see it, but I just got up from doing more push-ups. A commercial gets me going. No, man, they're great people. And so definitely check out Viciously Loyal. What else you got, Gary?
Oh, I kind of already hit on him. Trey Serrano. I met Trey through George.
There you go. Look at that handsome devil. Just recently retired from the police department. And again, all these people that you're seeing and what they're involved in, you're taking something that you're talking about character and integrity. Trust these people with, your investment. They're great people.
And not only is Trey a fantastic businessman, he's a joy to be around, man. He's always
fun.
He's upbeat and he's intelligent and articulate, and he always shows up to the party with something in his hand, man. He's not showing up empty-handed, and that's my kind of talk right there, man. That's my kind of guy. Absolutely love what Trey has done to try to help me move on, develop my own sphere of influence, develop good integrity-based business principles. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Hey, so that's a great segue. Jessica, thank you so much for tuning in. I love my niece. Joe Smaro, thank you so much. He says, love you, Trini Trinidad. I appreciate you when you talk about emotions. You got to check that dude out. He's on the Crisis Cops. It's on HBO. It's a wonderful program. You guys want to talk about something that we do outside of just being police officers. The mental health unit is an unbelievable unit, so you got to check him out. All right, so let's get into Jesse. I know Jesse's got some cool stuff going on. Let's talk about what Jesse's got going on. How about we show this? I think it'll show more, and then we'll comment on it here in just a second. Reality defense, man. I did push-ups on the other thing, but now I got to do curls, man. I used to say, curls for the girls, but I can't do that anymore. I love my wife, and I do curls for my wife, Audrey, and it doesn't rhyme, so I don't say it. But, Jesse, tell us about reality defense, man. In fact, we're going to have that cool breakout session here at the conference, and it's going to be taking place at your place. Tell us about reality defense, and it's important for you guys to understand this because, again, you want to talk about trusting yourselves to people who have these businesses outside of what it is they do as a career. You want to trust this man and what he has to offer at this range.
Yeah, so RDI is a training and consulting group, and we're very fortunate to have our own training facility. That video was the third video of a series. You check it out on Instagram, Reality Defense Inc. So RDI is the concept of J.W. Hughes, who's a self-made man who loves veterans, law enforcement, military. So he had RDI as a way to be able to provide training for him and veterans around him. At one point, probably about 3.5 years ago, he asked me if I'd run RDI for him. I said, sure. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know some people, and I know some people with guns, and they'd love to go shoot. So
Look at that
so
guy.
look at that. Look at that barrel on that weapon. So we've grown since then. We started off. John, my partner with RDI, the CEO of RDI, pretty much said, "Hey, you've got 3 berms here. Make some money, and I'll put more effort into it." I'm proud to say, about a month ago, we finished the expansion on our facility. We have actually 4 shooting pits, measuring 50 by 50 each, a rifle range out to 500 yards, and a number of other things going on. That's just the training facility that you hear about a lot. It's important to note, again, we do more than that. We do consulting work for private organizations, specifically working with their emergency action plans, what to do during tragedies that may occur, critical incidents. And we keep expanding every year. I'm proud to say Gary is one of our guys there, one of our top guys there. So we're in good hands when I've got people like that putting an effort into this. Man, that's a way for me to give back to our patrol officers. As you know, I'm big on training. I believe that the first and most important thing is mission accomplishment. So to accomplish a mission, right below that is training to accomplish a mission. And so we've been spending the energy in this company to provide that for our police officers, men and women. They're at the training facility. So look us up, realitydefense.net. We have a website, a number of courses coming up and events coming up. Your conference coming up. I'm looking forward to that. You still haven't told me what you want me to do, so I'm kind of like nervous. I hope I can perform.
You can handle it. That's why. You can handle it, brother. I know you can.
Good people, and I'm sure we'll do good by you.
Yeah,
sure.
Man. We're gonna be throwing all kinds of cool things up in the air. Bananas. We're gonna be shooting all kinds of cool stuff that's gonna give people an opportunity to be able to experience something different at your range. No, man. That range is one thing I'll tell you, Jesse, and the guys out there at the Reality Defense are not. They give so much back to us. So had the opportunity to go out and train multiple units out there, and he's offered it up. And so, a true champion when it comes to caring more about the mission and ultimately people being safe. And that range has come a long ways. I was there in the beginning, and I've seen what it's become, and I'm really proud of you, man. And we've shared a lot of hours talking about the business aspect of things. So I really am excited to bring people in from all over the nation and outside of the country who are interested in coming into our conference, because I believe this is going to be one of the highlights of the conference as far as breakout sessions outside. And if you don't know, the workout and shoot with the competition team, Jonathan and Sal, my partner Sal, he's going to be, look at that competition. And you're going to have some fun with these dudes. They like to have fun. At the same time, safety is a priority. I think we got another shot of these dudes. There you go. What was that at, Jonathan?
I was in Florida. I was after the banquet.
Yeah. So these guys have a lot of fun, but at the same time, extremely professional. You're in good hands. You're going to have a wonderful experience. I predict this breakout session is going to sell out first, and it's the first one we're advertising. So, when you buy your ticket, make sure you send us an email and tell us that you want to reserve your spot to work out and shoot with this competition team. All right, so let's see here. Nico Arnold Alanis, I appreciate it. Audrey says George and Annalisa are awesome. And we'll go to Gary, Trey, and I were roommates during the academy. Learned a lot from him. Sad to see him retire, so please look out for my boy. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, on that note, Jonathan, I know you're extremely involved with heading up the team as far as, of course, the competition aspect of things, but you're also in charge of a lot of training. I've been talking to Jonathan about some things that we're interested in, but right now, your focus is probably on the team and things that you're doing.
Right. No, definitely. I don't want to give too much away for the conference. But like I said, Jesse's allowing us to use that great range, the reality defense. Man, it's gonna be a great fun day. Like I said, it's gonna be a little bit. Can I tell them what's kind of gonna happen?
Of course you can.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be a little physical fitness mixed in with some shooting, almost like a little tack fit. We might throw some obstacles in there, but at the very end, we want to do is increase the heart rate, get the adrenaline up. We want to put you in that situation where if anything else occurred, you may have adrenaline spike and you may feel that. So we're going to teach you a couple techniques, how to utilize your big gross motor skills and breathing techniques. It's going to be a fun day. We're going to have cameras out there, so we'll be filming some of the guys out there so they can go home and show their significant other. It's going to look cool. We may have Jesse. We're going to ask him to blow some tannerite up at the range, and it's going to be awesome.
For sure. Hey, for sure we can do that.
And we may have Gary just flying over the helicopter. So we don't know.
Or we'll have Gary. Oh, speaking of helicopters.
What you got, brother?
Wow, sexy.
Hey,
Sexy.
You know, the thing about that is Gary's going, what the hell is taking them so long?
Yeah.
I will tell you, Gary, that is an unusual thing for a police department to allow, these guys to do, man. It was really neat when they allowed us to take that into consideration and to give us that training. I never got to personally experience my time there, but the guys have been able to. And so I think it's kudos to the city of San Antonio for allowing us to be able to repel in those situations.
Jesse does. He pretty much heads up the helicopter portion of the training. He's been pushing for it year after year. So with the ability of him not giving up and the Eagle actually complying, he did a great job of actually making all this happen. So it's progressing, and I'll let Jesse get further into that, but it's progressing, and we're doing a lot of stuff.
Well, I'll give you an interesting story there, Trini. You guys, if you don't know, Nick from our team. Nick joined our team. We selected him. He shows up on Monday. He's like, "Hey, guy, we're going to the factory master course." This guy has never been. He's never sat inside a helicopter. And his first day, we're telling him, "Hey, get on that rope and get off." So Nick is a great guy. That's what you saw there. That's that video clip of our first fast rope master course. So there's a lot of little things that we're working on, and absolutely, you're absolutely correct. That's something very unique. I think we took that for granted in the military. We have these, we have an abundance of helicopters, abundance of resources. Police departments don't have that. So I commend our Eagle unit for spending the money to provide those things for us. And it's an ensemble of benches. So our helicopter's too small for us dudes weighing 250 pounds with all our gear to be inside of it. So we actually sit outside and we have to get off from the outside. So it's a blast. And I don't know, maybe we'll be able to get you there, Trini. I think we can. I think we should.
I think my days of all that kind of stuff might be done. I think I might join Jonathan, because Pop says Jonathan's focus is getting on the PGA Tour. He's been getting private golf lessons for a while now.
Man, that's actually my golfing buddy. And like we were talking earlier, that's just one of my outlets and something I enjoy. Just being out there, whether it's softball, golf. I can't play the piano yet, but
never too late.
Yeah, actually, my girlfriend, she plays the piano, and I love taking a nap whenever she plays the piano. Super weird. But yeah, so Pop, going back to golf, it's just one of my outlets and one of the things I enjoy. And it's just a great outlet, great therapy for me.
Yeah. Hey, man, before we sign off, and please don't leave yet, I do want to announce real quickly that if you will please do me a favor, if you believe in what it is we're doing here on this show, if you believe in supporting these first responders, and in particular, supporting them through me, this is a little bit, I don't ask a lot in my lifetime, but it's American Cancer Society stats, it's there. I'm trying to be my own statistic and all, but the American Cancer Society gives me a less than 8% chance to live past 5 years with the the diagnosis that I have right now. I definitely want to be my own statistic. I'm not, not giving into that. At the same time, I'm a realist when it comes to, hey, I've got to plan for this and kind of, work out the details. But I'm hoping for the best. So that being said, if you believe in what we've all done, and I hope I can speak for you guys, I do believe I can. Please support, this conference. I am trying to continue to push and utilize what it is that I have in my ability to provide a platform that's interesting, like this show, Special Ops Talks, utilizing this platform in an effort to continue to provide. And in this particular case, I've given a ton to my country and to my community, and now I want to focus on my fellow first responders. So please consider, either attending this show or maybe paying it forward and providing a first responder an opportunity to attend the show. And so on that note, Jesse, Gary, Jonathan, if you don't mind, hey, leave us with something that you feel like you want to, communicate to maybe people that are out there that are tuning in, that are still here with us, because I'm always so proud to see the amount of people that stick through an hour and 42 minutes of us talking. So if you don't mind.
Now, I'll tell you, Trini, with what's going on across the country, without getting political or any of that, I think it's important to convey the message to the community that we are still very proud to serve our community. I know I am. It may be cliche, maybe
it's not
silly to some, but to me, it's still about serving my community. That's where I grew up. I grew up in San Antonio. I want to serve my community, and but at the end of the day, we're also human. We're also we love, we hurt, we cry, just like everybody else. So when you get a chance, that patrol officer that's out there handling those calls that can turn into the most severe type of call in a heartbeat, that's really the heart and soul of our department. Shake their hands and let them know that they're being supported, because I know the majority of people love their department. The majority of the community is silent right now, but when it's time to speak up, they will. But shake their hands, let them know that you care. I think it's important for them to know that.
I'm extremely proud of San Antonio. I don't care about what's happened here recently. I've been through 23 years of my service to my community and here in San Antonio, which I was also born and raised. I am extremely proud of San Antonio. I know that our city loves us, and they show us all the time. So all of this stuff that's going on throughout the country doesn't amount to much with me, because I've seen it so many times. My San Antonio community showing me that they appreciate my service. So I'm happy that you say that, Jesse. Guys?
Yeah, I'll just kind of what Jesse's talking about, without getting political. Actually, let's take a different aspect. Just make sure, as far as emotions go, the outlets, make sure that you find your therapy. To all the guys in the military, whether it's military, police, law enforcement, anything like that, especially the hard times that we're going through right now, make sure it's very important that you find your outlet, find your therapy, and most of all, communicate. Trini, you've always been a big supporter of me, and man, we've always communicated really well. Especially when I needed something, you were always there for me. So make sure you find that person. Don't be scared. Don't be weak. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength that you're able to communicate that and tell another person your feelings. So we got to break that wall down. And like you said earlier, at the end of the day, as long as we improve from the day before, that's all we're going for.
Yeah, man. I like what you're saying, man, because I take a lot of value in what you say. And for me, if with my son, he listens to some, I don't know how to say it. It was different kind of music, Jonathan.
I know.
And But I try to find meaning in everything. I don't care if I don't really particularly care for a type of music or anything like that. I try to find meaning because there's meaning in so many things, man. And with my son, one of the songs that he played one time was "I Want to Fall in Love with My Last Breath." I know he's going to kill me because I probably chopped it up, but man, you think about that. I want to fall in love with my last breath. I've seen people take their last breath. I've seen my aunt take her last breath. Or I've seen my aunt get down to her last bag, her last drip bag, before they said, "We can't give you anymore. We're going to do more harm than good." And, you know, I've seen my uncle and I've seen a couple other people take their last breath. And one thing that has always stuck out with me is how important it is to know that you lived a life that was fulfilling, that you lived a life of purpose, and that you feel comfortable with your last breath. And that's my goal. In a selfish way, with this conference, I'm making up for some of the things that I fell short on in my life. And, you know, I think it's very important, Jonathan, that you continue to share that with me because I'm not beyond struggles right now with things that are going on. And so hearing those things means so much to me, and I value those things. So I implore you all to, if you got a call to make it. If you got something to say to somebody and you think maybe you need to be reserved, you know, don't, because it really can make the difference for somebody. I know that your words mean a ton to me. So thank you, Jonathan.
Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for being on the show. And Gary, you get the last stand.
You guys make it hard to follow up, man. That was some fruitful words and a lot of good things that I could only try to push another room deeper with. You know, you brought up meaning and purpose. Those are big deals right there. Along with everything we're talking about, you know, there's a high suicide rate in so many arenas that guys and gals are towing the load, and they're coming back and they're taking their own lives, and that speaks volumes to me. You know, I would never try to sound like a psychologist, but one of the mechanisms that I've used in my life, and I've developed it over time, is focus on how I can keep some of the demons at bay. And it struck me as profound to maybe share it with the crowd. And that's there's different things with each and every different human being that are going to bring out the venom in a person, you know, and I know what they are with me, and I make efforts to avoid them. And in that same spectrum, I know the things out there that take the venom out, the things that get rid of the vinegar in my system. You know, you already know me, Trini. So like playing the piano, shutting off that inner dialogue, getting over to the gym and spitting out those demons, cooking a good meal for the family, focusing on the things that help me to keep the day to day, and to put all of some of that bad stuff behind me by not focusing on those 1, 2, 3 big things that I know that really jam my system up. So I wanted to share that. And I got to run full circle to something that from Jesse brought up from the beginning. You know, I knew from a very young age that I wanted to be a citizen soldier, a patriot, and I went and fulfilled some of that stuff and climbed as high as I could. And I believe in the brilliance and the determination and the spirit of the United States of America, man.
Absolutely.
I know that silent majority wants and needs a vocal piece, a mouthpiece for them right now, you know, and I love what you're putting on with the conference. And I think it's just a great, I hope I'm not speaking too much for you, but this is a wonderful grassroots opportunity for people of all walks of life, from the first responder side to huddle up and wrap our arms around one another, and not only put out some good information, but you know, potentially you're probably going to have some life-changing experiences with the conference that you're going to put on. And I think that's one hell of a goal, you know. So
it's a part of what I want to do with my legacy, Gary. It's a part of what I want us to do, man. It's I know that, you know, hey man, I'm facing some difficult odds, and my goal is to start something that hopefully, you know, whether it be Jesse, Jonathan, guys from SA Law, guys from our department, or just anybody will pick that flag up and keep carrying on. That, you know, that's it. I don't have to be here like many of us. We don't have to be here for the accolades. We don't have to be here for the thank yous. We knew what we were doing when we signed up for this. I know what I'm doing right now with my time. I know what I'm taking away from my time, and my family does also. to put this conference on, because I am taking time away from my family. And so, again, I cannot emphasize enough, what not only what I feel, but also these guys that were on this show, and pretty much everybody that's on this show is Keepers of the Peace. What it is that our service means. And right here, you're seeing an example of that. So, Gary, I really appreciate you mentioning those things and recognizing, what it is that we're trying to do here. And I appreciate your time being on the show, brother. I can't wait to have a follow-up show, with you guys, because we're going to. So,
I've enjoyed every single minute. I really appreciate you. Hey, Jonathan, Jesse, Trini, thanks for the almost 2 hours worth of pure goodness, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And if y'all don't mind, just stick around after we're done with this sign off. One thing I do want to show you guys is, check this out. So it's a little bonus as far as trying to push my personal brand in an effort, not for vanity, but in an effort to just get the word out of what I believe our message is. Check out this Chris Vector. This Chris Vector is pretty neat. Had some fun in my backyard with it.
Oh, nice.
It has not been fired yet. It's still brand new. And it's a very unique weapon. I'm excited to be able to give that to somebody. All you got to do, can we run that quick clip on what you have to do in order to be registered to win this thing? So I'm not that famous yet. So you got to look up Trini Trinidad. You got to hit the filter. You got to go to the channel. You find my vacation photo. You hit subscribe. You hit that notification bell. But hit the top notification bell so you can be notified of all the posts that we put out concerning the conference, concerning Trini Trinidad, the brand, and ultimately to find out if you won the Chris Vector or not. On that note, I want to thank my guests so much for joining me. Thank you guys for sticking around. I love the retention of what it is that we're doing here, man. I'm extremely impressed. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. You guys stick around afterwards. And in the end, I want to leave you with this. Please remember that as first responders, very few people sign up for the badge, the accolades of the title, and all that stuff. A majority, a very, very high, like I told you before, sign up because we believe in what it is that we're out there willing to sacrifice for. And that being said, please remember to support your first responders. Support first responders, teachers, nurses, doctors, all of them that are out there. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And don't forget, the man, that I got your 6.